how could your mathematics skills be correlated with reading fiction? It doesn't make sense, right? Well, in this video I will tell you exactly why it does make sense and how to use it to your advantage. I'm the winner of the second place in the Latvian National Olympiad of Mathematics, and today I will tell you one of the methods that I used to achieve that. So in the next couple of minutes I'm going to tell you first, what problem does it solve? Second, why reading fiction is the solution, and third, how to actually do it. Let's start. Do you ever read a problem and then just stare at the paper, wondering what did you just even read? If so, you are not alone. Lots of students feel that way. When students see a math problem with just numbers, they usually know exactly what to do and finish the problem fast. But when the problem is written out in a story or words, a word problem, students suddenly get stuck, even if it's the very same math. For example, you are given an equation x plus 2x equals 27. Well, students find this very easy. Add up the x's like that, then divide by 3, and you'll get that x equals 9. Done. Now look at this problem. The brother has twice as many apples than his sister, and in total they have 27 apples. Calculate how many apples the sister has. Well, now students get in trouble. Do we understand the text? Can you draw the situation on paper? And lastly, did you realize that it is the exact same exercise as the first one? Yes, of course, this is an overly simplified version, but I hope you get the idea. Students are very good at reading words, but when they have to truly understand the story and explain what it means, they sometimes can't. A few years ago, this wasn't such a big problem. Why has it gotten harder? Well, think about it. Today, things like videos and games often show you everything already. You don't always have to use your imagination or try to picture things in your mind. Being able to picture the story in a word problem is super important for solving math problems. And many students haven't practiced this skill enough yet. Now, before we get to the next part explaining fiction reading, if you like this video so far, click the subscribe button to see more of these videos. Now let's go to second part. You should probably understand by now that I'm trying to push you in the direction of that you have to read books. It just makes sense. If you want to get good at understanding what you read, then you need to actually read, and not just read it, but really understand it. If you read something that is longer, not just an Instagram meme, you will start to get better. But wait, Ernest, you said that we must read exactly fiction. Well, first, reading anything is better than reading nothing. And second, let's look at why fiction is better than non-fiction. Non-fiction is good because it follows a clear, step-by-step idea or explanation. But you don't have to imagine very much. And you might agree that it's not always super exciting. Let's look at this fragment of a non-fiction story. I was about 10 years old. My family took a trip to Grand Canyon. I had only seen the canyon in flat pictures before, so I thought it wasn't just a big ditch. But when we stood on the edge for the first time, it was amazing. The canyon was so huge and deep that it felt like a whole nother world below us. The rock walls had stripes of red, orange and purple, showing how old the earth really is. I remember standing there, squinting into the sunlight and realizing that some things are much bigger than you can ever imagine. It made me feel very small, but also a part of something truly grand. As you see, logical and clear structure. However, it is pretty easy to imagine. Boy here, big canyon here, rocks, red colors, and bam! Done. Now let's look at some fiction. Leo was exploring the dusty, quiet parts of his grandmother's attic on a rainy Tuesday when his fingers brushed against a small, round tin hidden under an old wool blanket. The metal was cool and rusted, and there was no lock, only a tight lid. He used a butter knife he'd snuck upstairs to carefully pry it open, half expecting to find forgotten pennies or buttons, but inside there was no metal at all. Instead, the tin held a perfect miniature world. A tiny, glowing green forest where moss pulsed with a faint light, and grease no bigger than his thumb stretched toward the sky of the lid. As he stared, a miniature deer with antlers like silver threads stepped out from behind the glittering leaf, and Leo quickly snapped the lid shut, deciding he would keep the secret of his glowing, pocket-sized forest for himself. As you can see, fiction is better because first, it makes you more creative and helps you think about the what-if situations. Because, well, mathematical thinking is all about imaginary situations. Second, makes you okay with things that are not so simple and clear right away. It teaches you that you don't always need a quick answer. Because a lot of students in mathematics, if they not see the right answer immediately, they just instantly give up. And third, concentration and attention span. It requires focus to follow the story and remember the details. Details because they're not as easy to remember. So it makes it easier to study for longer when you are at school. And lastly, there is a lot more to imagine and it's much more fun. Do you agree? So we have the attic, we have the tin can, the miniature world that you can draw a little bit interesting stuff, the kid, the knife, the deer and the trees, a lot of things to draw. This is just a quick sketch. So should I just read fiction books then? Yes. But the books, they're so boring. Well, let me give you a speedrun way of doing this using AI. So part 3, how to actually do it. Let me show you a simple 3-step exercise you can do weekly that takes a couple of minutes and achieve a similar outcome. Step 1, ask AI, write 1 paragraph fictional story. Or you could just say funny fictional story if you want to be like more funny. Second, grab a piece of paper and make a visual sketch of what is happening. And step number 3, at the bottom of your sketch, write down key information from the story. By doing these 3 steps, you will practice understanding what is said in the text, visualizing the text, and finding the key elements in the text in a fun and playful way. Let's do one together. Step 1, I asked the prompt and the AI gave me this. The starship with the name Odyssey shuddered, snapping pilot Jax awake as the emergency lights flashed red. A deep, cold silence followed, broken only by the hiss of cooling vents. "Report, Zola," Jax shouted into the darkness. His co-pilot, a small silver robot, immediately projected a small hologram. A single rogue asteroid had punched a clean hole right into the main engine housing. Jax knew that they were dead in the water, light years from any help. But Zola pointed a tiny metallic finger at a nearly forgotten escape pod meant for cargo. "It's small, Jax," Zola chirped, "but it has a single jump drive. You can take a message home." Jax nodded, already strapping his helmet, knowing his only job was to send that one tiny pod racing through the black Dwarn colony. Step 2, let's draw it. So we have this starship that has the asteroid heading. We have this big engine shooting out. We have some couple of stars here and there. We are in the middle of the universe. Let's give it some wings. Why not? In space you don't really need wings, but for the purpose of this. And then we need some emergency lights. We have emergency lights in. Then we have this asteroid. Engine is back here. So asteroid has hit the engine. We have big hole right here. Then we have the pilot. Then we have the front cabin. Then we have the pilot jack. Then we have this little robot showing a hologram of what is happening. Then we need the escape pod that's somewhere, let's say here. Here's the escape pod that's ready to be launched back to the colony. And somewhere light years away is a colony with multiple starships. Okay. That's done. Step 3, key points. First point, starship crashed because of an asteroid that hit the engines, and now the engines are dead. Second, we have 2 pilots, a human, and then a tiny robot, silver robot. Third, they are in the middle of nowhere. Fourth, the only chance is to send this emergency pod with a message so colony can receive it and hopefully come for help. Done. Just like that. A couple of minutes a week. Just imagine how easy it would be to understand word problems in a month or so. To recap, students today have a hard time understanding text in word problems. Second, you can practice this skill by reading fiction stories. And thirdly, I gave you step-by-step weekly exercise that you can do. Do this and you will get ahead of 90% of other students.